A woman got on the bus. She was in her 20s, I'd say, with long flowing hair, probably dyed it herself at home. She was wearing a tight dress and a pair of high heels, and as she got on the bus, she turned to me and said, "Do you know how to get to the Royal Institute?" I didn't know what to say. I mean, should I engage in conversation with her? Should I just ignore her? What would be polite? I was taken aback by the question and I just stared at her. And then I realized that there was a name for what I was experiencing. It's called social anxiety. I've had it my entire life, this overwhelming feeling of dread when someone looks at you and expects you to say something, to respond. But I don't want to respond. I have nothing to say. So I just looked at her and I said, "What?" She repeated, "Do you know how to get to the Royal Institute?" I'm thinking to myself, why are you asking me? Why do you think that I would know how to get to the Royal Institute? And then I thought to myself, maybe she's new in town. Maybe she just moved here and doesn't know anyone. Or maybe she's just trying to be nice and make conversation. So I took a deep breath and I said, "Yeah, sure, I know how to get there." And then I proceeded to tell her how to get to the Royal Institute. And as I was giving her directions, I noticed that she was staring at me intently, almost like she was trying to memorize my face. And I thought to myself, is she gonna remember me? Is she gonna come up to me again and ask me something else? Because I was already dreading the next time that she would approach me and ask me another question. But we got to the stop. She got off the bus and I didn't see her again. I thought to myself, wow, that was close. That was too much social interaction for one day. But then about a week later, I was on the same bus route and I saw her getting on the bus, and she was with a guy this time. And as she got on the bus, she turned to me and she said, "Do you know how to get to the Royal Institute?" I was so shocked. I couldn't believe that she remembered me. And I thought to myself, what am I going to say? What should I say to her? How do I respond? And then I said, "Yeah, sure, I know how to get there." And I gave them directions. But then, they got off the bus and the guy walked her to her house or wherever she was going. And I thought to myself, well, that was awkward. But then I started thinking, maybe she really did move to town. And maybe she just needed some help finding her way around. Maybe she's not trying to, bother me or anything. Maybe she just genuinely needs some help. And I started feeling bad because I was being so rude to her, not being polite, just giving her directions and then ignoring her. So I thought to myself, maybe next time I'll try to be a little bit nicer. Maybe I'll ask her how she's doing or, just try to make a little bit of conversation. Well, wouldn't you know it, the very next day I saw her again on the bus. And she was all dressed up in a beautiful gown. And I could tell right away that she was nervous. She was fidgeting in her seat and she kept looking at her hands. And I thought to myself, what if she asks me something? What if she approaches me and asks me a question? Oh God, I hope she doesn't. But of course, she got on the bus and she turned to me and she said, "Do you know how to get to the Royal Institute?" And I responded, "Yeah, sure, I know how to get there." And I gave them directions. And then as soon as I stopped talking, she turned to me and she said, "My name is Philippa." And I was so shocked. I couldn't believe that she remembered my name. I actually remembered hers from the first time we met. I knew that she was going to say her name. I just didn't know when. So I said, "It's nice to meet you." And then she got off the bus and she walked away. And I thought to myself, wow, I can't believe she remembered my name. That's amazing. I wish I had the confidence to approach someone and strike up a conversation with them like that.